Nigerians, I would not waste your time. Today's story is all about our Nigerian EFCC chairman. And I'm talking about this episode of his debunking the story of his life and addressing about certain religious scammers, fraudsters, and the rest of it. But we wonder why he keeps going after the poor Yahoo boys or the Yahoo guys and the little thieves and petty thieves, and he goes for and he avoid going to the higher ones and he focus on these lower ones. But he has a lot of things to say. Let us give him at least a moment for him to explain himself. And I see him acting, maybe he's a pastor at this time, trying to preach the word of God. Let's hear what he has to say so some of you can learn. Yahoo boys, Edawaduro, but at this particular junction, if you want to go against people who you think are committing a crime, you have to go for everyone. And that's my opinion, but let's hear him out.
It's where you serve as a chief of staff in an organization like that. You are like a shadow chairman. For years I did it. I was the secretary appointed by the president, confirmed by the National Assembly. In the midst of that, there was a storm. And I'm going to share this with you and probably step down from the podium.
Wait, he said he just want to share something and he's going to step down from the podium. But this is already 4 minutes. I started playing it in 4 minutes and the video ended in 23 minutes. That means he has a lot to say. Nigerian youths and Nigerian elders and Nigerian politicians and Nigerian pastors, open your ear. He's about to start debunking his story before he goes to your story. But let's give him a chance.
I was doing my work diligently. Of course, as a chairman, as secretary, then I was in charge of the general administration, managing staff strength of close to 5,000. I was the one administering all the forfeited assets from east to west, north to south. Managing them, reporting to the National Assembly and the presidency as to how we manage the assets forfeited to government. There was someone who was supposed to be a cabinet member, who was a cabinet member as it were, but I was not.
Please, I want you to hear him clearly. I wasn't supposed to stop here, but he said something that his work, his duty was to go out, was at that particular juncture, was a secretary, giving the government of every forfeited property. He is the one who hands over those details to the government in the past. So we wouldn't be surprised why he is where he is. He already has a good job that he's actually doing in the past. So, Oga, continue.
I'm meant to report to the cabinet member, and a time came and said, look, bring this and bring that. I said, sir, no, I will not do that. The particular provision of my law, of the Establishment Act of this organization, says this is how this has to be done. The second time he sent for me, and I resisted. And he looked me in the eye. He said, what do you mean? And he identified himself. I said, I know you, sir. You don't have to identify yourself to me again. But I'm saying this is my stand, and this is what the law says. And so I left. And somebody called me afterwards and said, look, sir, you better come back and beg this man, or else your days are numbered. I smiled. I knew where I was coming from. And I know my life and my destiny is not going to end where I am. The journey is still far. If you understand where God is taking us to, some of the things we do that will make us compromise, we will run away from it. And so 3 weeks after, a panel was set up. Of course, some of us who followed what happened in 2020 in the EFCC, you understand what I'm talking about. My name was all over the place, maligned left, right, and center. Esteemed guest, I was under investigation for 2.5 years. Suspended.
Okay. Let us think about what he said. He was already working in EFCC as a secretary, holding the properties of those who have forfeited their properties to the government. Somebody was asking him to release certain things to him. He was refusing. And then they said, you have to respect your boss or go appeal to your boss. He refused. And that was where he had issues. Taking the property of people who forfeited. He didn't indicate what those properties are used for. We haven't heard about that, but let's give him chance and see where it's actually heading, because this is about just the boss and him. This is not about my duty. This is how we use the money at that particular junction to do this. You can use the law because you know the law to defend your stand, but you can also use it to attack somebody. But what would be important in this information is that every asset that has been taken away from Nigerians who are supposed to be fraudsters, who are convicted, what are you using those properties for? That is what we need. Because the history of Nigeria has showed us since the beginning of time that when they take our money or they catch a corrupt leader, we don't know where the money go to. And Oga, what you are saying, it's not beneficial to us. You're only telling your glorious story that you are an hero. But I will still give you a chance to explain yourself.
For doing nothing. At the end of the day, I was given a clean bill. There is nothing they didn't do. There is nowhere they didn't search. They don't believe, no, but they couldn't believe that there is someone in this country who will hold such a position as chief of staff in the EFCC and secretary. Number two, that you manage the entire asset. At some point, we have asset over 500 real estate that I manage, that they will not trace something for you. At some point, I wanted to auction. We shortlisted 11 auctioneers. The members of the auction committee say, oh God, look, we have not brought a candidate. A candidate to do what? And incidentally, my in-law was an auctioneer. Not until 2 years ago that we had to reconcile, because for the action that I took, not allowing him, not registering him as part of the auctioneers, led to a lot of things, I used 11 auctioneers, not one did I introduce, not one. Now, assuming I introduce one, or assuming I sold property to my family members, because I never believe, as someone who works in that environment, you never believe a day will come that you also will be subject to investigation. But I always knew that. So if you are here...
He almost knew that. He knew it, that day is coming. And so he was prepared for that day. If you're prepared for the day that you'll be called upon, you will commit a crime with intelligence. Let's let him go.
You're a public officer, you are holding the position of trust. Know is that one day you will be called upon to account for your deeds. If it's not here on earth, it will be beyond.
Oh, now, when this is where you get me mad. Whenever people talk about if it's not here on earth, it's going to be in heaven and all of that, then it's just like, do you really believe it? Because there is nothing, and I'm saying it categorically speaking, there is nothing that I think that Nigeria has gotten from EFCC that has been beneficial to Nigerians. EFCC, we know till date he hasn't gone after Yaya Bello to carry him, because we are still going to push forward a little bit. And I'm still going to be making another video after this. He hasn't gone after Yaya Bello and the rest of it. But every money EFCC has recovered, what has that money been used for? Every building that has been auctioned by the individual, what has the money been used for Nigerians? Now, maybe he's not the one to account for those things. Maybe how the money is being used. Maybe But we don't know how his duty helped Nigerians. Right now, he became a chairman. So I want him to really proceed and tell us, how is it helping us? Okay, they talk.
Let's always know that the guy that sat to interrogate me happens to be somebody I recruited into the organization myself. So his hand was shaking. When he was taking me, I said, look, relax, do your work. And the long and short of the story is that after that, I was given a clean bid, asked to go back, but I refused to go back as a secretary. I faced my private practice. God bless me. I was subjected to ridicule. This is my story of integrity. I'm not sure there's anything I need to read anymore.
Well, first of all, I don't know if that is your story of integrity. I did not buy it. I don't think Nigerians buy it except those who are clapping for you, because the story of integrity is not you saying how you don't talk about your integrity. There are certain qualities you have, other people have to say it about you. You know, Jesus told people, he said, what do people say about me? And some people say, they say you are Lord. Some people say you are Elijah. Some people say you are from Moses. Some people say you are just a prophet. He said, who do you think I am? He knows exactly who he is, but he has to tell people, do you know who I am? So if you come up here and you tell us that this is your integrity and all of that, who is buying it? I am not buying it. Are you telling us that you are righteous? Because you said that's the story of your integrity. I wouldn't say I'm righteous. There are things that I do that are not palatable. There are things that I do that are good. So I won't try to make myself look righteous. I am saying, you left it. You said you don't want to go back to EFCC as secretary, but when they gave you a higher position to be a chairman, now you accept it. Because they questioned you as secretary. You were not happy about it. But now that they question you, they choose to bring you back as chairman. Now you accept the position. Is it the salary differences? Talk to us, because you can talk to everybody. They may, for me, different. I like to see things differently. I may not be right, but I like to see from the other side. I could support you and say that, oh, EFCC chairman Olukobodade, or whatever your name is, and say you are doing the right thing. I am saying that this corruption you're fighting is not actually stopping, because you guys are making life hard for people. I mean, I was in jail and I saw that Yahoo boys are still extorting, making money in jail. And you guys are busy getting people's property, and we are not seeing anything you guys are using it for. And so if you're telling us about your integrity, and you said they call you back after they did, you said the person who actually came to interview you, the person is scared, and the person was shaking, wah. And after the person is afraid, why would the person ask you tough questions? If I was the one who don't know you from Adam, I'm going to ask you a difficult question if that is my profession. So why would they allow somebody who you recruited to interview you? Now, you said you passed the exam, whatever. We agree to that. You passed the exam, and then they call you back. If you had integrity, yes, they question your integrity. If you have your due diligence and it's your profession and you love the work, you go back as your secretary. Or you just resign and you say you don't want to have anything to do with the organization. But when they invited you back to be a secretary, you refused. But when they brought you to be a EFCC chairman, you took it. It's all about position. God is the one who elevated you. So you are comparing yourself with Joseph in the Bible. To
add to what I've shared with you, it's a matter of time. Make sure your hands are clean in whatever you do. I recognize that there are so many pastors here, senior pastors, our daddies, our mommies, captains of industries. In the course of my working in the anti-corruption environment, I've had cause to convict pastors. It's not a palatable story. But I need to tell you that I've had cause to convict imams, religious leaders. My zonal director in Lagos is here with me. Please stand up for recognition. Mike Wetkas, when I was chief of staff, he was working with me directly. He was the one that handled the extractive industry. You have had cause to convict pastors, imams, Shango worshippers, Babalawos, all kinds of so-called religious leaders, all kinds of. So for the mere fact that somebody says he's a pastor or is a...
Please, sir, there's a difference between religion and tradition. Tradition is not religion. I hope you are now educated. Because religion, you can see a lot of fraudsters. Tradition, possibly, yes, you can see some fraudsters. Not as much, but yes, you can. And if a traditional babalawo or something wants to defraud, it's easy for you to get those ones. Because let me just put it in this way. One of the things I would say is this: while I was in Ikoyi Correctional Center, what I was able to observe was that I saw at least one traditional babalawo guy who was brought to jail. But you can move from cell A, from block A to block B to block C to block D. And in each blocks, there are multiple cells in the correctional center. You would rarely find a traditional herbalist who was brought in because he's a fraudster, who was even brought in to jail. The question is why? But you are going to see a lot of people, thousands of them, being religious. So you can only talk about religious because when you even talk about the Babalawo, you don't even feel convinced by your statement if you actually, and I'm not saying that Babalawo are better people. I'm just saying traditionally, people rarely commit fraud. I'm not saying they don't, but religion, and if you are actually going after religious people who are actually doing this, which I support whatever he's saying right now, but I'm like, hey, you have to focus and crack down on every religion in Nigeria now, because I bet you if we have to crack down every religion in Nigeria, out of 100%, it wouldn't be more than 2%. In that 2%, I would see that it will not be more than 0.2%. Because they are chromosome. They don't understand what they are practicing. So crack down on them. If you're not cracking down on them, at least if you want to leave the politicians to be on heaven because they are higher than you in position, then you have to. Because there's another video I'm going to be producing on how EFCC cracked down on both Yahoo boys and both, what do they call it? On Yahoo boys and politicians. I'm going to be talking about that too. But I hope EFCC are doing the right thing they're supposed to do to help Nigerians, because just going after criminals and we are not seeing the product, the real thing, what you're doing, ain't making sense. But crack down on the pastors, I will applaud you for that.
Christian, or is a Muslim, or is an imam, does not build any insulation around you that you will not be corrupt. I'm so sad that one of the pastors we also convicted is even a pastor in my own denomination.
What
Yes,
did
sir. Yes, sir.
What's the meaning of denomination? Is he talking about currency? Please, anyone who understands what he means by denomination, after this video has been uploaded, please comment and let me understand what you mean by your own denomination. Or do you mean in your own environment, or under you, or above you, or within your zone, your zona, or your did they call it district, pastor's district, or pastor's zone?
It might not be a good story to tell, but that is the reality. How many of us can sincerely ask ourselves this question, that everything I have I can defend? As a pastor?
But I'm not a pastor. So,
as a public officer, as a leaders of opinion, as captains of industry, That everything I'm owing today, I own today, I can legitimately defend them.
Let me make this clear. Just because you can defend something doesn't mean you got it in the right way. Mr. Olukoyede, chairman of EFCC, just because you can defend something doesn't mean you get it legitimately. Get that.
That's the beginning of the test of integrity. We can stand here and speak grammar from morning till evening. Doesn't mean we are clean. Just this yesterday, I had cause to arraign a former minister of power. Doctor was talking about power. Mambila, you will remember. For 33.something billion. And these are people that occupy front positions in religious centers. When I was being investigated, the only thing they saw so many accounts that I was signatory to. They said they've caught him. So by the time the investigator discovered that it was Redeem's church account, I said, the cost that Baba Deboye will put on you if you touch his church money. Yes, I want to be clean.
In a nutshell, Pastor Adeboye is righteous. In a nutshell, Pastor Adeboye is not corrupt. I didn't say he's corrupt. I say he's not corrupt, according to what he says. Yeah. Signatory to church money. Why would you be a secretary working in an established organization for anti-corruption that goes after every organization, non-profit organization and profit organization, and then you want to be a signatory to the account of your own pastor? And because you know that person is prominent and they have thousands of lawyers, I don't even think if Tinubu goes after Pastor E.A. Adeboye, when they meet in court, Adeboye will be more than Tinubu own. Because he's going to have lawyers that he doesn't need to pay them money. But the question here is, why would you be a signatory to the account of a church that you attend while you are in the position of anti-corruption, that you should be investigating corrupt organization? Why are you? Because now you said pastors are this, pastors are that, but you are also a signatory to the account. And then you think I should applaud you? Huh? I wish I'm in one position now. Let's watch you.
And that has to be pure. That's the only thing that can help you. Upon my assumption of false, people are saying, sir, we are praying for you. I said, don't pray for me, pray for yourself. I'm praying for Nigeria. I said, why are you praying for me? Say, we just look at how your predecessors came and left, blah, blah, blah. I said they were the one that knew what they did, why they came like that and left like that. My story is going to be different from that. And I said publicly, I challenge anyone that has ever given one dime or have taken a bottle of Coke as a suspect in your house.
Why will it be when I'm taking Coke?
That's what I mean by integrity.
This man was actually...
That's the difference between our country and countries where things work. People don't gather in church or in mosque to pray 5 times a day, 10 times a day. They don't even know Jesus Christ is. They don't even know who Muhammad is. But they do the right thing. They follow the law. They obey the rules. They comply. Let's check ourselves. Are we are we really God-fearing people? Do you understand what it means to be a Christian or a Muslim?
Oh, so that means he's actually talking to church leaders and he's actually attending a program that is being held by certain religion because he first of all congratulated all the pastors and all the people there. Then he says some of you are corrupt and blah blah blah. So you shouldn't look as if as an EFCC person when he knows he's on media, he has to talk about this. The question is, we have certain individuals like Yaya Bello that you're supposed to have gone after. You didn't go after the person, but you can arraign 5 million Yahoo boys at a time. I think you should do your duty. That's what you should do. You can come after me when you ain't going to say anything. In fact, I'm broke right now. And if you look at my previous everything I do, I ain't Oju Kokoroish. That means I don't look for something that I don't have in another person in trying to extort. Now, maybe it looks like I'm even talking like me too. I have one integrity and try to blow my own trumpet. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to say here is that this is about religious stuff. And if you're talking about religious stuff, it is apparent right now that you as a person, you haven't gone after the right people you're supposed to go. There are billions of people you're supposed to go after. And you know those people. Yes, you can go against people like what did they call the name? This man that was CBN governor, past CBN governor, who you guys went after because he was against Tinubu at some point, Emefiele. Now you took a lot of assets away from him. Yes, should you do that? I support. I think you should do that. But I'm saying that you know certain people that are sitting currently. Must those people be out of position and they become the enemy of a government before you go after them? Or you should pick either this or that and go after those individuals. You can impress the whole Nigeria more. You ain't impressing. You ain't impressing. Because until we know that our economy is good, that people would have no reason to defraud other people. Because if people can eat very well, which we have the ground for it, we have the farm for it, we have a lot of things for it, but when the government is not providing your season assets, and then you take people to jail, they come out, they are still in jail, they still extort people, and you just keep going after, and the circle is just like we keep repeating the same circle all over again, and you think you're doing work and everyone is supposed to applaud you. Hey, you ain't doing anything. And even for me talking to you, talking about you, it's getting me upset right now. I have to remove you from my live show. Have a blessed day. See you my next. I'll be talking about EFCC stuff, the tactics they use in going after Yahoo boys, politicians. And the only way I knew it was I didn't question Google, but I questioned ChatGPT. Show me something. Let me learn. Let me learn how these people actually operate. Though I knew how they used to operate, but ChatGPT gave me a little bit insight. And I'm like, it's good to just inform people. Yahoo boys, stop Yahooing people. Stop taking things from people. It is, you can be good and you can be blessed. You can be good to certain people and they will bless you. And if you don't know that, YouTube showed me that. If you don't know that, life showed me that. You don't necessarily have to go through all this stuff. But you still have to understand that there's a reason why the EFCC organization might not be going after certain big people and they have to crack down on the small ones. But you can't quench the fire by going after the small ones. That's just my perception on it. And I'm not saying don't go after them. The small ones, I'm just like, when you make us know that you cannot be as rich and invisible, that they cannot get you, as long as you're a Nigerian, everyone will be careful. But if you just go after the little ones, some of them will have a lot of connection with the DPO and with big law enforcement agency in big positions and powers, courts and the rest of it, and they can corrupt those people with money. It can happen that way. So think about it, bro. Bro, EFCC Olukoyede, I'm done talking about you because all those things you're doing, for me, it ain't impressing. it ain't impressing because our youth are not having the necessary education they need to have to help them to foster their way of thinking. And if you had come, you also came to channels and you are also in a religious center, you should be producing all this kind of stuff for Nigerian youth in different environment, calling for Nigerian youth to sit so you educate them. Now you are going to churches where there are old people who are already retired in their work and they are not even, they are doing fine in their life, church religion, and now you're speaking to them. Now they have more understanding on how to hide their money perfectly. But the people you can correct are the youth. You ain't doing seminars for the youth. You ain't calling Nigerian youth together to educate them, to instill the reason why they shouldn't go into fraud. You're going for religious people. That is a no-no for me. Have a blessed day. Mr. Olukoyede, go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And those of you who are watching, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share. See you in the next one. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.